Gruesome Magazine.
Hello, once again, I'm your host, Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-hosts, Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dave Dreher, Christopher G. Mohr, and I will take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we are reviewing No Exit, streaming now on HULU. We're excited to be doing this. Let me introduce the rest of the crew, starting off with award-winning filmmaker, Christopher G. Mohr. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, I hope I never have to go to some welcome center or whatever.
No snowy visitor centers for you, right? All right.
No, thank you.
All right. I was going to say like State Farm will be there, but I'm not even sure that's the right one.
It's Allstate.
Allstate, that's right. I knew I had the wrong one. I just
not the guy in khakis.
No. I'm going to get distracted. Let's do this. Also joining us this week is Crystal Cleveland, the Living Dead girl. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm just looking for a way out of here. That's dumb.
There's no exit.
I hate myself. I couldn't even do it. I was even going to be really nerdy and be like, but I just didn't have the heart for it.
Didn't have the inclination. All right. Yeah. What we're going to do tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is we're going to review No Exit, streaming now on HULU. We are going to give our first impression of the film. That will be spoiler-free, and then we'll dig into discussion. We'll get into a few spoilers and plots and stuff like that, yes. And then we'll wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score, 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. And, of course, we hope you enjoy not only this review, but many others that we have on the site. And we hope you would help us out by hitting the subscribe button, the like button, or share with a friend. And, of course, above all, we'd love to hear your comments down below. All right. Let's do this. What are we going to do? Let me get over here to the card. And I was having technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. No Exit, streaming now on HULU 2022. Available starting February 25th. Director is Damien. The writers are Andrew Barr and Gabriel Farrari, based on a novel by Taylor Adams. The cast includes Ivana Rose-Liu, Danny Ramirez, David Richdahl, Mila Harris, Dennis Haysbert, and the wonderfully talented Dale Dickey, one of my favorite character actors out there. The synopsis is, during a blizzard and stranded in an isolated highway rest stop in the mountains, a college student discovers a kidnapped child hidden in a car belonging to one of the people inside. Cue music, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's get into this. Crystal Cleveland, what was your first impression of No Exit?
Okay, so this movie is well made. It's well shot. I think it's incredibly acted, and I think that every bit of the sound and cinematography and location is wonderful, and I think that the story is good as well.
However.
Yeah. The only thing with this movie that I found is that it's there's nothing new. There's nothing special about it. There's nothing earth-shattering. I actually called most of it. There's only one thing that I didn't see coming. And I was like, okay. It's good. And I think for a lot of people, this might be shocking. You might be like, what? Oh my gosh. But I was like, oh, yeah. I do think there are a few moments of tension. I think for some more than others, I think that if you're okay with just a typical standard, a thriller, you're going to love this. I kind of like a thriller that has a little bit more punch to it, and this one really didn't have it. There were some moments I really enjoyed, some moments that I really liked, and like I said, I think the acting is really, especially the lead. Oh my gosh, I think she's wonderful, and I love the Allstate guy. I love him. I think he's wonderful.
That voice, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, so nice. But I got really perturbed at some of the character motivations here and some of the things that the characters did, to the point where I'm like bothered. So it's a good movie. It's not a great movie.
Good movie, not a great movie. Mm-hmm. All right. Christopher G. Mohr, what was your first impression of No Exit?
To me, it's not a good movie. It's a great movie.
Oh,
I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite movies I've seen this year. One of
Nice.
them.
Yeah. Okay.
And if we had Dave on here, he probably would say something similar. To take something that's a very simplistic concept, and this could almost be done as a play for the most part.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it just takes place in this, there's some things take place in cars, but there's the main part of it takes place in this sort of welcome center, in different parts of it. But yeah, I think the way this story plays out, I thought was tension filled throughout, and I think it kept building. And I think the way the characters interacted was really, really cool. I mean, I think it's well acted, and just the manipulation with certain characters, I thought was brilliant. Because there's one of these evil characters, I'll say, when his mind fuckery is just
yeah, he's mean.
horrible. And to me, that's worse than just somebody, torturing you. He's torturing you mentally. And I just love that, and I think a lot of the things they have to do to get to sort of how the situations get amped up more and more. And I don't know. I was like throughout, I was enthralled throughout most of this. I think there's one moment that feels a little too tidy, a little too coincidental. And I think that's the only thing that felt a little bit out of sorts, but it does add that extra layer. But and all the little twists that happen throughout. But again, it's very simplistic. This does feel probably more thrillerish than horror movie-ish, but I think it's a well-crafted sort of psychological thriller that has some really, moments and how people act in certain situations to sort of hide certain things or to get away from certain things. And I think you almost, like, for me, I mean, Crystal was talking about she didn't feel like certain, I guess, actions and stuff didn't work for her, but I felt like that it made me kind of question, what would I do in this situation? How would I do to get out of this situation? And then also how do you, like, it's almost like those games, like where you're trying to figure out who the killer is type thing, like a mystery type thing, when you're trying to find it through dialogue. And there's things that it's very trying to manipulate, trying to find certain things or trying to have situations. And then you have this sort of, I don't know. I the whole structure of it was really cool. I mean, and I think it all comes down, if you didn't have actors that were very accomplished and how they portray their characters and how they deliver pieces of dialogue, and how even just scenes where they're trying to hide stuff, but they're still saying stuff. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I love the hell out of this film. I think, again, I think there's one kind of thing that seems a little too coincidental, a little too precious for it. And I think also you could sort of tell that they use a little bit of special effects with these sort of cars driving down the road scenes. It felt very CGI, but but it still worked for what it was doing. And normally, yeah, you want a little bit more, I guess, flashbang for your buck. But again, this is one of those things where if you have great characters, you don't necessarily have to have the biggest sets in the world. It's all about their interaction and how they play it off. And even how towards the end, I was like, oh, how are they going to get out of this situation? Oh, shit, how are they going to get out of this situation? And so the whole time I'm like, it kept building and building. And I was like, and I was tired when I was watching. I was like, and it woke me up. I had a hard time getting to sleep because the movie woke me up. And I was so impressed by the filmmaking in this, because it's such a simplistic thing that probably could have been done very cheaply, for Lifetime or one of these things. But it still has that element of production value to it. But again, if you cast the right people, you don't necessarily have to have the most spectacular special effects and stuff. But there's still a little bit of a gore type stuff, which is still like, oh crap. I don't know how I would deal with this. So I don't know. I really loved this. I was really surprised. I expected it to be what Crystal thought it was, that it was sort of good and possibly run of the mill. But I thought it was a breath of fresh air when it comes to
that's
thrillers.
good.
So
Nice,
at least
nice.
for me.
Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah,
good.
I quite enjoyed it as well, and it is very much a thriller, and it does have a horror tinge aspect to it, much like an old dark house kind of movie. We basically have a group of strangers that end up in a place, and then somebody's bad, and you got to figure it out. So in this case, it's a rest area instead of a an actual house, but the concept itself is at the core is there. And I liked our lead character. I liked the conflict that she has with her mother and her sister trying to get there, and that lead through. I talk about that often, that what's the conflict, what's driving the character to get from point A to point B, and it's got to be more than just survival. I mean, sometimes survival works, but there's got to be more to it to really engage it, and this one had it. But I really love the idea of Richard. Well, not Richard. It's Dave, right? Dennis Haysbert and Dale Dickey as a couple fascinated the hell out of me. It's like, it just was like, I want to know how these two got together, because they you wouldn't imagine them, but yet on screen there's actually there's a great chemistry between them, and you really feel their this bond that they have. But yeah, a lot of the tension is in the dialogue, is in like revealing the phone call, that when the phone call finally comes through and you reveal what's on the phone call, and stuff like that. We'll get into all that here shortly when we get into the spoilers, but a reveal with one line of dialogue changes the entire situation, and I like that. I like the way it builds that suspense. And it is shot wonderfully. The cinematography with the snow
pretty.
is all great. You really, the building itself is, it's not very, it's just a big open area with a couple little hallways to get to a restroom here or something there. And so you know your surroundings, you know what's going on, you know why they can't get to people, you know why the cell phones don't work, and you buy it. So it's got all the right pieces and everything. But in the same way that Crystal said that, it doesn't quite get to 10, right? It gets up there, and occasionally it gets to 9, but it doesn't quite get to 10 for me. Hitting that unbearable tension that this film wants you to have. But at the same time, I really enjoyed it, and I highly recommend people watching it.
Oh, I definitely think people are going to like this movie. I mean, I know it sounds like I may have like pooped on it a bit, but I didn't. It's just to me, it's just a more just typical thriller. It's good. It's good. It's good. Okay, and there are some moments that I did enjoy, as far as some of it's a little hardcore, which made me happy. And I mean, there is like a mystery to unravel as to why this is happening. And like I said, the acting is great. I mean, that's undeniable.
Yeah.
But,
And I thought all the characters had good motivations to do what they were doing. The person of interest, you will, has a small backstory that is driving him. Our lead character does.
If I'm being honest, I'm super bothered by our lead character leaving her rehab to go see her mom. I'm like, well, this is part of what's wrong with your life.
Well, yeah, that's definitely what it is.
This is part of your issue. Like they said, it's rehab or jail. It's not like she's in rehab just to be in rehab. She's clearly made some poor choices, and then the sister's like, stay away. And sometimes you do need to stay away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but again,
that was a selfish choice.
Well,
but understandable.
But at the same time, it's understandable. If your only main connection is probably your mom, and she's about to die, I think that would be a reasonable reason to break out of it, so you could see her before she dies. Because the thing is, it's like, that might be a way to sort of like give her hope and stuff. You know what I mean? So to me, that felt like something somebody would do. Well, that would be the only main reason why you would want to, because you feel like you need to be there, even if people don't want you there. I mean, if that's the one person you care about, because the
I don't
sister
know.
seemed to be a dick to her.
Yeah,
So-
well, understandably so.
Yeah,
But I think
I've had people like that in my life, and I'm like, and I guess I just think it's a selfish choice. That's what I'm saying. It's a selfish choice.
Well, it is a selfish choice, but it's not. But it's still a choice because
I know. I agree. It's a choice.
Because evidently she doesn't care about herself enough to take care of the thing, but she cares because she loves her mom and she wants to be there.
Well,
I don't think her mom wanted her there, though. I believe the sister when she said mom doesn't.
I believe
want
the
you.
sister. I think the sister was just doing that because they didn't want. They were worried that she was going to do something when she's there. I didn't see that at all.
But that's but
because that's why you see the mom coming to the window in that one specific.
Yeah, and she was done with her because there she was, practically dead. At a point, you do cut people out of your lives, especially people like that. And like I have literally lived this situation, and it wasn't me. But I've lived this, and my mom did not want someone there.
But I'm sorry. No matter what situation I'm in, if I found out my mom was going to die, I don't care. I would do anything to get there. If I was
because
in
it's
rehab
selfish,
or whatever.
of course.
Well,
I'll get
it's
it.
Selfish, yeah.
It is,
but
and that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I can understand why that choice would ruffle your feathers. That's understandable. But I could relate to that because I care a lot about my mom, and I will do anything. I will.
Of course.
I'll if I have to run a street light, if I have to do whatever, I'll do anything to get there.
Yeah. Well, my mom died. She is dead, and I understand that. But I also think that once you make these life choices and you have ruined those relationships, you don't have any right to go and try to do what she's doing.
Well, I see it that, she knows and she regrets those decisions. And, this is her possibly last chance to, try to
once again, a selfish reason.
It's still selfish.
It's all selfish. I don't care. My mom was like, nope, I'm done. I don't want this. I don't want that person there. And how dare someone defy that?
Yeah.
Because they're being selfish.
Yeah.
I'm not, but a
druggie,
a druggie is selfish anyway. Let's be real. Someone who is an addict is typically selfish. They have a hard time, respecting themselves, much less respecting anyone else. I get it. I understand it. It doesn't mean that I like it though.
Yeah. Well, I think
maybe it hits a little too close to home for me.
Maybe. Well, I think they showed
that's the personal. I guess that's all we come into with our own baggage, our only issues that we have, and that could color the film, And
because I hated her. I was like, you deserve it.
But I will say,
I know I'm horrible, but
and sorry to stomp on what you're about to say,
no,
Doc.
it's good.
What I was about to say is I think they or stomp on yours as well, Crystal, but
stomping
all over the place. But I will say, I think they do a better job of introducing a character that has specific issues and making it work, as opposed to like the Texas Chainsaw movie, where you have this woman and girl who dealt with a school shooting, and they didn't treat that, and it just felt kind of shoehorned in.
Oh yeah,
this is a part of her character, and you can see that constant. Oh, should I take this drug? There's that constant. I
appreciate they gave her. So I did wind up liking her, of course. Okay. I mean, because that's the point. And I think the actress played it so well. Like, I think she was
complex,
amazing.
Right? She was a complex character.
Yeah. And the little girl, oh my gosh, the little girl's so good. So I gotta admit, like all of the performances really helped this. But I mean, wasn't it kind of obvious who all was involved?
And the dialogue for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I think I loved this. Felt like like Lost was, where you'd find layers about each character, and they're not exactly.
I'm like the only person in the world that never watched Lost. I know.
So, and I think this movie does that.
But it does, yeah.
even the little girl, that you learn things about these characters.
Yeah, how she's kind of a little bee.
Yeah,
I was like,
and then
oh, well,
maybe you should throw in the van.
This makes a lot of sense now, doesn't it? How all this transpired.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I
I do-
agree
I
with
do-
Christopher. It's too convenient right there.
It's too convenient.
That was what I was trying to point out without pointing to
Yeah,
it. because
I
now
knew
we're
that's
in
exactly
Spoilerville.
what you're talking about.
It felt a little too convenient that they would come across each other
Shoehorn
at
her.
this-
She's
this
shoehorned
one
in.
that felt. I mean, still it added that extra oomph and interesting
It was a good
issue.
twist. Yeah.
Yeah, to where then it caused a rift between her and
Her
Allstate
man.
guy.
Mm-hmm.
So
Dennis.
and I think I love that to where you learn about a character and think they're one way and then they twist it and then you find another way they twist it and they kept doing that and I love that to where it was like peeling away the layers and it added so much more as the movie went along, at least for me.
But I also had an issue with some of the character motivations here as well, because I'm like, okay, considering what they want to do with this child, it doesn't make a lot of sense to kidnap a child like her. Because she's sick. She's got a lot of issues. There's a lot. The ransom was not what it was about.
Well, I know, but the ransom would have worked better than what it was actually about.
Yes.
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 Because it doesn't make that's not the right
I
target
think
for trafficking.
I am total, and that's exactly my point. It really bothered me. The kidnapping, I totally got. I was like, oh, okay. Well, this makes a lot more sense. This is yeah. And then when they took it down that road, I'm like,
Yeah. The only
why
thing that
would you? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it seems to be a pattern though, because Lars, in his own way, is similar. You know, not medically, but mentally.
No, well,
There
that's
seems to be,
different, though.
right?
That's
True.
different.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
The fact that she could get excited of all of the diseases as well at Addison's, which a person that's it's silly because this child who will be trafficked will live in a constant state of excitability.
Right.
She'll be dead like that. Why would you waste your
picked something
time?
else, right? They could have picked something else that would have been a little more conducive. But that's a minor thing. It's more of a
Or a major thing,
Well,
a major plot hole.
But then, yeah, story wise, it kind of helps because then you have the drama of like she could die or she needs this, so it adds, it's more, it's more of a.
But an allergic reaction could have done that, right? So
yeah,
there's 100 different ways to put that.
Or just sticking with the kidnapping.
Well,
but
I guess they had to do that when she had the little band, so that allowed them to sort of say, oh, foreshadowing.
There's other
bands.
bands. There's other bands.
Yeah,
sure.
Diabetes. I mean, there's
yeah.
all kinds of things. Diabetes would be a heck of a lot easier for them to deal with than.
Well,
this.
people don't think through a lot of the
I don't think
stupid shit they do.
Yeah, I don't think Lars wasn't really on top of his game here, and I'm not sure how this all got arranged, but I enjoyed.
Bullshit.
There's a couple of twists in this that I thought really worked, and there's also a pretty tense moment with a nail gun that I really enjoyed.
Oh God!
That I thought really. The only thing I didn't like about that is how how she got out of that thing. I get it within the context of the story, but I thought that's what you were referring to as the one kind of thing that. Do you really want to go there? I mean, could there be another way? Do you want to actually promote that? But I get it. Go for it. I thought you would use that on one of the other people, to be honest with you, not herself.
Well, the way I saw it is, instead of using it to ruin her life, she used it to save her life.
Right. Yeah, well, that's what they were trying to do, but I just don't think that's a good idea. That's what I guess.
Well, in that instance, I think that's to me that would be the way. I thought that was perfect in how that played out.
Actually, I did too. Shockingly, I was like, well, okay, because I guess it kind of numbs her. Because I don't think otherwise she would have had the ability to get past that.
It would be pain medicine.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's numbing.
It's like a shot of adrenaline. Yeah.
She realized she's got to need that to help her get out of the situation and save this little girl's life. And so I felt, I did think at some point, although I did like the nice little thing where she's thinking about using it when she's in the car, and then she's putting sugar into her coffee.
Oh, yeah, I did too. I like
think
that
she's
too.
pouring the drugs in her coffee, but it's not. I did like that. That was a nice little
That
editing
transition. I liked it too.
Yeah. One last thing to talk about the dialogue. I like that early on they talk about the tell when they're having that game. You know, there's always a tell, and that was something that if you watch is in the entire movie. The tell.
Yes.
Everybody has their tell, and it takes a long time to get to Ed's tell, but everybody has their tell. So it's good. I like that. I like that aspect of it.
Yeah, and that
poker face aspect of it.
And that the main villain guy.
Oh man, he's good.
His verbal manipulation made him one of the most interesting villains I've seen in a long time. Because he almost felt like he almost got a kick out of taking information or
using it against him.
You know, and I think her character, she kind of manipulates situations to her advantage as well. She's almost like the good version of that. But I was like, man, this fucker is evil. He needs to die now. Yeah. I was so like, oh God, you know, and then, you know, because when he's talking to her in the bathroom, or then later on when he
has the phone, and oh my God, when he talks about the phone,
I was like, oh my God.
And when they're at the table again, after she knows and she can't say, you know, it's.
And he talks about the dad.
Yeah. Very tough stuff.
Oh, when he's like, how did he kill himself? That way. I was like, oh my God, this guy's horrible. This guy's a horrible human being.
All right, let's go ahead with that cheery note. Let's wrap this up with our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. If I recollect, Chris Reed.
Oh no, it was me.
Nope. I recollect wrong. Chris
It's okay. I was like, well, whatever. Okay.
It's a twist.
It's a twist.
Plot twist.
Psych.
Okay. So, such nerds. Okay. So, I did like this movie. I think a lot of people will like this movie and probably enjoy it, much like Christopher and Dave. Probably a lot more than me. I didn't dislike it. I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. I'm going to give it a 3.75.
That's really good.
Yeah. No, like, I'm just saying it didn't give me anything new. That's all. I mean, that's not bad necessarily. It gave me what it should have, if that makes sense. You know, I mean, take it for what it's worth. I do like psychological thrillers a lot. So, the acting too. Oh God. Okay. Anyway, obviously my favorite scene has to be the nail gun through, like the crucifixion.
Yes.
I was jacked
not through
up.
the hand, but through the wrist.
Yeah, it's like a crucifixion. Like that's where Christ was actually crucified, through the wrists. Like, and so it's like, I was like, oh my God. I sat there and I was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, when she was thinking about getting it out, I'm like, I can't. I was like, I totally know why she took the drugs then. I do not begrudge her drug taking at that moment, because girl, you go. Because, also she's in a fight for her life. Yeah. Either she does it or she doesn't. So
it would have felt cheap if she didn't.
That choice was the right choice, and it wasn't. What's funny is it's probably the one moment in time where she didn't want to take the drugs, but she needed to. Mm-hmm. So I think that's kind of interesting. But yeah.
I just question that message, but yeah, I get it.
The one time she wasn't being selfish about her drugs.
Yep.
She was doing it because of the little girl.
Yeah, That's true. What's your final thoughts, sir?
I really love this film. I was really surprised. I initially thought it was going to be sort of like a run-of-the-mill thriller, although the trailer sells it really well. Yeah. And it's a 20th Century Fox movie, so the production values in the snow aspect.
Yeah.
I was like, as a filmmaker, I'm like, that. I feel like that's a set,
so high quality.
And I was like, how did they do the snow? And when she's running through the trees, and then there's that parking lot outside the Welcome Center, which I felt like that probably was a set, but I was like amazed. I was like, that's where the money is, because the money's not just in the broke down Welcome Center. But But I love the production design. You have this welcome center. You have that sort of creepy, broken women's bathroom with the hole in the wall. You have all these different things and work. But I think you can have all the production stuff in the world, but I think it all comes together with this acting ensemble, because there was definitely a chemistry by certain, and a antagonistic nature between characters. And I think this is a mystery thriller, because it's all about figuring out like who these people are. And then you peel away the layers. Oh, this person's not like this. You peel the layers again. Oh, this person's like this. And you get more and more information as it goes along. And then you're like, and then there's tense situations, like how are they going to get out of this? How are they going to manipulate this situation to their advantage? And like, oh my gosh, this person dies. And so how are they going to get out of this situation? So to me, it kind of builds, and there's a tension with that. But yeah, I thought all the acting was superb. I think the main actors, definitely that one villain guy.
Oh yeah.
His delivery of his lines just felt like
he's so intense,
concentrated, pure evil as a human being. I mean, there's a moment later where you see him that he really cares about the other guy character, at least as a friend or
they seemed like they had like.
They're like brothers.
They're like brothers,
yeah.
whether they're blood or not.
Well, they grew up together. Yeah. They were raised together.
So so he had a connection. So you see that he's not like totally heartless, but
that makes
he is heartless and evil when he deals with other people, and his manipulation, and especially manipulation with this girl, and willing to like burn down things just for the sake of. So yeah, I don't know. I was really surprised by this. I think it all comes down to the acting powerhouse of these people. That I think the only notable one that I know is the All-State guy, but he does a really great
Dale
job.
Dickey, everybody knows who Dale Dickey is. No.
But yeah, as for rating, I will say that I mean, I think the one story concept is a little bit convenient with the wife character. For that situation, but it works well for the story. So it won't get a perfect score from me, but I will give it a 4. I'll get a 4.25 out of 5.
Okay. Oh, nice.
Okay.
I really enjoyed this. It was really tense and crazy, and the ending actually got a little bit emotional at the ending.
Oh, nice.
Because you feel like she's finally not being selfish and hurting other people. She's been through this crazy ordeal, and she's finally taking care of herself. So as for favorite scene,
she's still going to jail now.
Well, she's in rehab, so maybe not. Maybe because of what she did.
Oh, she'll go back to rehab. Sorry, I would assume on your favorite scene,
because there's a picture, a drawing
with
that
the
little girl drew of her as the superhero.
Oh,
and
right.
Okay, so let's imagine this. Her parents have money too, so don't you think they do everything possible to make sure she didn't go to jail? Because I would
assume that they're going to go to her hearings and make sure she's okay.
Yeah.
As for favorite scene, I will say it's that confrontation in the bathroom between her
nice
and him. Because he's like he's almost like Hannibal Lecter. He's trying to get into her head. It's like, how'd your dad die? And the dialogue is brilliant in this movie, at least, and it's very simplistic, but I think it's all comes down to how these characters inhabit those characters and deliver it. And how they say things when they mean other things, and I don't know. It's all. And again, if they didn't have great actors pulling this off, it would be very run of the mill and feel like something you'd file on like Lifetime or something. But this I think goes above and beyond just based on the performances alone and some of the dialogue in regards to that. So that's probably the thing that really stood out to me, favorite scene wise.
Can I say something? That his death, since we're spoilers, his death, oh my God. I loved the way he acted, the way he died. Just real quick. I just got to say what a great job he did in his death. I was like, that looks really rough. His face when he died, and I was like, damn.
Oh,
dude.
also he unloaded that
Damn.
whole fucking nail gun on that
And,
cop.
oh my God.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of nail gun nastiness going into this.
Yeah.
I agree with what you guys are saying. I think the dialogue and the actors, really ground this film. It's also it's really well made cinematography. It's got a lot of good production value across the board. It'd be curious. I'm really curious, actually, if this would have made it to the theaters, how well it would have done, or if it had got recognized, or just, because it's 20th Century Fox. So, there's a history here. There's the past couple of years. So this thing, I think from the production value alone was obviously meant to go to the theaters.
Yeah, it seems
but
like
it ended up on Hulu. And I do recommend people check it out. I think it is well worth the watch. I really enjoyed it. My score is it's a solid 4, a really strong solid.
So you're
4.
in between us. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I do like the lead actress. I think I've seen a couple people breakout performance, and I wouldn't argue with that. I think she really makes a strong performance on what she is, and when I love the twist. They're not like the most shocking out of the blue twist, but yet they make sense, right? They work in context, and given that, we're like, why did they end in the same place? And they kind of give you that because they're going in the same direction, which is a coincidence, but they are going in the same direction, and the direction the way to get there is blocked. So how they end up in the same place, it's not entirely unlikely, right? It's plausible. It's plausible enough that I didn't mind it, and I love that. And I love that the dialogue. If you listen to the dialogue of Dale Dickey, she's telling all along. Because she's the way, especially as it gets closer to when the girl's having her fit and the guys are outside, she's telling. She is telling, and nobody's paying attention. But I really enjoyed it. I like. You're really fascinated that you said it would make a good play, Christopher, because I'm looking at it, it's like, yeah, it kind of would. For the most part, it's in that one room or an adjacent room, except for when they're outside or in, the beginning and the end, the very beginning and the very end, right? Mm-hmm. So, which you could do easily, on stage. So love it. Favorite scene, I'm going to go with a nail gun scene as well, but this is going to be Lars. And let's just say, shufflefoot, fall to the floor. Lars is here. He's here no more. Just the fact that he has, he wasn't going to die, but he wasn't going to feel too well. But then he falls on the nail, and it's just like,
wouldn't have killed him. He would have been okay.
Yeah, it just would have been.
Not necessarily. No, I mean,
it's according to how deep it goes in.
I mean, literally,
after
he basically got a lobotomy because they used to do it right here through the eye.
Yeah, but this is in the middle of your.
But it wasn't. But
they did it. It goes kind of up in. Yeah.
But once he fell to the floor and shoved that nail, because it was a long, and then went all the way in. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, but yeah, every time that nail guns are. They made the best use, and I like that because there are weapons in here, but they're very sparse, right? They don't go crazy with unlimited ammo kind of thing. And when new weapons are introduced, it makes sense because the cops show up or something like that. So, although now that I've said that, one thing that was really weird is like when they show the cop returning to the place, there's no snow. It's like, how far did he go? How far did he go when he's driving on the road? Not when of course, when he gets there, there's snow. But there's one scene overhead of the cop car driving back after the text goes through.
Okay.
And he's going back. There's no snow anywhere. I was like, So I guess he was.
I guess I just
further
didn't notice
away.
that.
I don't know. It's like I screamed it out when it happened. Where's all the snow? Anyway, doesn't matter. It was still a good film. So be sure to check it out. That's our review for No Exit. It's playing on Hulu now.
Yep.
Let us know in the comments down below what you think. Crystal, Christopher, thank you so much for joining me. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks for having us. This one was good. Mm-hmm.
This would be a good one to double feature with Hateful Eight.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because it's a similar type of story. People trapped inside a thing and they're trying to figure who the bad guy is.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, it is.
Mm-hmm. So,
well, there you go.
More scaled down contemporary version of that.
There's going to be an obvious winner between the two, but you're not wrong.
Well, yeah, there's no comparison. But I'm just saying, like, if you wanted to do a double feature, that'd be a long double feature. Hateful Eight's very long. But, yeah.
It is. All right, let's say good night.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.